Right guys, listen now. What I'm doing today is a revision lecture on mitosis and meiosis 1. Right? This is for those students who are not here today and for those who are here today, so that you can revise for your SAC next Monday. So, to start with, we talk about cell cycle. What cell cycle means is that every cell, whether it goes through mitosis or meiosis, has to go through this thing called the cell cycle. It's nothing else but the life cycle of a cell. John, I do not want any distractions, please.
Come on, John.
So this is the life cycle of a cell. Is that's what a cell goes through during its life. Yeah? So if we start from here, when the cell is born, what it does is once it becomes mature, once it's mature and it's ready to divide. Okay? But before it actually divides, it prepares itself for division. And that preparation phase is called the interphase. And as you can see, the cell spends most of its time in the preparation phase. That's the interphase. And then once it's ready to divide, it just goes through the division phase, which is this much compared to the whole cell cycle. Okay? And that division, the divisions that happen in the cells are of two types: mitosis and meiosis. So mitosis and meiosis. When the cells have to just grow, as in numbers, they have to make copies of themselves, they go through mitosis. So mitosis makes exact copies of the cells. When they participate in reproduction and they have to make gametes like sperm and the egg, that's when they go through meiosis. Right? So these are two different types of cell divisions, but both the divisions have to follow interphase. So the cell has to prepare before going through mitosis or meiosis. So we write an N here depending on which division is going to happen. And after that, the cytoplasm of the cell divides and it cuts the cell into two, which is not a part of mitosis or meiosis, and we call it as cytokinesis. Okay?
So how can we differentiate
between
mitosis and cytokinesis?
Mitosis is the division of the nucleus. They happen together. So when the nucleus divides into two, that kind of is followed by the cytoplasm cutting into two. But if you're asked to define mitosis and meiosis, they are just the nuclear divisions, even though we call them as cell divisions. So that's kind of like misguiding. Okay? So we've given a separate name to the cytoplasm cutting into two. So that's cytokinesis. So how does the cell prepare itself to divide? Because it's elaborate, we've further divided into three parts. And they are called the G1, S, and G2. They have to be written in this order. Okay? Because on the quiz, on the test, that short one that we did the other day, some people put G1, G2, and S. You will not get a mark if you don't write it in this order. And if you are showing it's G1, S, and G2, you also must draw the arrow this way, meaning that it starts from here. Otherwise, it could be like going that way as well. Right? So always put an arrow indicating the direction of the development. Now, what happens during G1 and G2 is the growth of everything inside the cytoplasm except the nucleus. So forget about the nucleus, just the cytoplasm bit. Cytoplasm is, you take a cell, get the nucleus out, whatever's left behind is called the cytoplasm. So anything that goes on in the cytoplasm, that occurs during G1 and G2. And what could go in the cytoplasm? What could happen in the cytoplasm? The contents. What are the contents of cytoplasm? What are the contents of cytoplasm? Protein. It's got all organelles in there. I'll just turn this off.